2, 1.
Welcome to Southern Sense Talk Radio with your host, the radio chick, Annie Ubelis. Join Annie on Tuesdays and Fridays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time with an open chat room full of her regulars. And yes, you can even call in. Call 917-889-3675. That's 917-889-3675 to be a part of the action on the phone line. Not able to listen live? Not a problem. You can always catch Annie, the radio chick, and Southern Sense Talk Radio podcast in archives at southern-sense.com. So sit back, relax, and enjoy Southern Sense the right way.
Oh, thank God it's Friday. Welcome to Southern Sense here on Blog Talk Radio, High Plains Media, SHR Media, Kinetic Hi-Fi, The Fix FM out of Charleston, South Carolina. I'm your hostess with the mostest, the radio chick, Annie. And today I've got a special co-host, Cal Fritzy, who's with me, as well as my usual co-host, Curtis C.S. Bennett. Good afternoon, Curtis, and good afternoon, Cal.
How are you, Annie? Hi, Curtis. Hi, Annie.
Yeah, hey, Merry Cal. Christmas. Merry Christmas. May it be the best Christmases of all for all of you out there listening in. We got ourselves a great show lined up today. Two fantastic guests. Probably a lot of you have heard this guy. He's Hunter Avalone. He's up on YouTube. He's got over 200,000 subscribers. He's also up on Facebook. He puts those videos out there that tells millennials, get a life. And that is going to be followed up by none other than Doug Giles of Clash Daily. It's going to be a great show, a lot of fun, and we're going to be telling the left, man up tonight. So it's going to be a great show to listen to. I want to welcome everyone that's out there listening in the chat room and those listening in on their smart devices. If you are calling in, just remember you want to participate in the conversation, press 1, and we'll be happy to bring you on along. And that said, we've got a lot to go over, a lot of interesting things that have been happening lately. We'll be talking about all of that. So we're ready to rock and roll, guys, are we not?
Yes, indeed. I'm having a little technical problem here, but I hope to get that straightened out in a second or two.
Well, Did he get in the chat room?
No, he's not up in the chat room.
Not yet.
Because, I found that in the chat room, those listening out there that have gotten bounced out of the chat room a lot lately, if you're using Mozilla Firefox, you may have to switch over to Internet Explorer. Internet Explorer is not crashing, whereas Firefox is. It probably is a disagreement between the two companies, so try that. Try a different browser, maybe Chrome or something like that. But that seems to be what the problem
Chrome.
is. Yeah. Mm. So, I've been getting kicked out of the chat room on Firefox 15 times in a row on one show. So try a different browser if you have one installed. Those that listen to the show know that we start off each and every show with a dedication to a fallen hero. And today is no different. Today we're dedicating the show to Police Officer Darrin Reed of Show Low Police Department in Arizona. His end of watch was Tuesday, November 8th of this year. And this is from 12news.com. The town of Show Low came together to mourn the loss of Officer Darrin Reed, a 10-year veteran of the force who was killed in action. A huge crowd gathered by candlelight to share memories and hugs as the community grieved his loss. He was a really good, kind soul, and just seeing all of this, it's very hard, said one teary-eyed mourner. He seemed to really love his job, and he was almost ready to retire. Reed was shot and killed in the line of duty. The man suspected in his death, Daniel Erickson, was killed in a shootout with police. But it wasn't just the entire community mourning his death. His fellow officers lost a brother on the force. In a press conference, Sergeant Sean Roby was fighting back tears. reflected on conversations he had with Officer Reed about retirement. "I just pray to God I get there because it's not a given," he said. Officer Reed was set to retire in February. He leaves behind a wife and 2 children. And this is from Michael Johnson, the White Mountain Independent. By all accounts, Darrin Reed was well-liked Show Low police officer and an even better human being. Darrin was a true cop, and he loved working the streets, said Larry Radoff, who served as a corporal and field training officer, while Reed was a rookie deputy with the Navajo County Sheriff's Office. He was the last of the true police officers and a fixture of the community. Reed, 50, had been an officer with the Show Low Police Department since 2006, after several years with the Sheriff's Office. He was planning to retire from SLPD in February 2017. Reed died November 8 from a gunshot wound he suffered while responding to a disturbance call. The suspect, Daniel Erickson of Phoenix, was later shot and killed during a standoff at a cabin in Pine Top Lakeside early Wednesday morning. Hundreds of people attended the funeral for Reed. The Maricopa County Sheriff's Office says his honor guard attended the funeral and gave Reed's widow a $25,000 check from the agency's memorial fund to help with any financial needs of the officer's family. Navajo County Sheriff Casey Clark said last week that Reed spent many years with the sheriff's office as a deputy and detective. He was well loved, liked, and respected by his co-workers here, and made many friends in his tenure with law enforcement. I am just heartbroken by this. He left behind a lot of friends. We ask that you pray for his family, and we will get through this together. If someone in my family were to be arrested, I would have wanted Officer Darrin Reed to be the one to do it, Show Low Police Department Detective Corey Feckenlocker expressed to the throngs of residents who gathered around the Cooley Clark statue, also known as the Statue of the Card Player, in Festival Market for a candlelight vigil honoring Reed. According to Show Low Police, Reed is the first officer in the department history to be killed in the line of duty. Darrin was just one of those guys who treated everyone with respect. I know he would have treated them right. That is something I took away from watching him. He wasn't just a better person for all, he was a better cop. It made him more effective on his job, and he was a guy to get along with, and I admire the hell out of him. I'm going to miss him. He definitely was among the best of us, and we are lost without him. Earlier that day, thousands of people lined Duce of Club's procession, carrying Reed's body from the medical examiner's office as it snaked its way to Show Low. Show Low Police Chief Joe Shelley choked back tears, recalling the sight of thousands of residents who came out to pay their respect. Shelley said his officers have more stories to tell than he does, but he recalled a conversation with Reed about 15 minutes before he was shot. The one thing we always kidded each other about was our age, and I was telling him he was always older. He said, "Well, Darrin, I lied. Actually, I'm the older one." He didn't know that until just now. Today's show is dedicated to Police Officer Darrin Reed, and it is also dedicated to all the brave men and women out there who serve as first responders, who strap on their uniforms every day to protect and serve, and never know if they'll ever make it home safe. And we also dedicate it to all the brave men and women in the military out there, those that have served, those who are serving, and those who will serve. And we dedicate it with this song by Dave Bray, Last Call. God bless them all.
can't be. The man that she's gonna take. Tell her I'll be waiting where the winter meets the fall. This is my last call. Tell my children that I love them. Oh yeah, but daddy always loved them so. Tell them to hold the mother's side and never let her go. Tell them I'll always be watching, looking over them through it all. This is my last call. Tell him to fight for me. Do what's right for me. Choose the light for me. But don't ever forget me. Tell them I'll always be watching, and I'll be there when they fall. This is my last call. Those who serve beside me, and who held up in blue lights, stand tall, stand strong, hold your head up high. Sorry I let you down today, but please know I gave my all. This is my last call.
And that is Dave Bray, Last Call. And you can check it out, his music, over at DaveBrayUSA.com. And we're back here. You're listening to Southern Sense here on Blog Talk Radio, High Plains Media, SHR Media, Kinetic Hi-Fi, the Fix FM out of Charleston, South Carolina. We're also listed at number 16 at TopTalkRadio.com, just 2 rows below Rush Limbaugh. I am your hostess with the mostest, the radio chick, Annie. And my guest co-host, Kel Fritzy of Red Fox Radio, and the most intellectual and handsome man I know, my co-host, Curtis C.S. Bennett. Good. Are we ready to go? Are we ready to rock and roll?
I'm ready to go.
Yeah, all right.
I'm
now,
ready.
I do believe this may be our guest on the line. Let me see if it is. Area code 301. Is this Hunter?
Yes, it is.
Well, good afternoon, Hunter. We have with us Hunter. If I mispronounce your last name, let me know. Avalone, correct?
It's Hunter Avalone.
Avalone. All right. You don't accent on the E.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I know that because I listen to his videos. And
Oh, very cool.
Well, I can't even remember.
Hi, Hunter. I'm Cal.
I can't remember my own name. How could I remember someone else's?
Annie, I still can't pronounce your last name.
No one can. Don't feel bad. Hunter, you're only 20 years old, and you're a YouTube phenom with over 200,000 subscribers listening to you. And I swear, I didn't think there really existed any right-wing millennials out there, but listening to you, I'm saying, God bless, where there's someone out there fighting the fight. What got you to do this?
Well, thanks so much. I've been into politics now for a little while. My grandparents were always very political and very conservative, and so I think they really helped in me kind of gathering my right-wing beliefs, sort of. And then a few years back, I would get very frustrated when I'd see things I didn't like happening in the world. Like, I felt like just like the mistreatment of some people and things like. And then I decided that I was going to start talking about it. So for a little while, I was only posting on Facebook about it and things like that. And then I actually started a YouTube channel. My original videos were not on politics. But then as I became more political, I kind of changed my videos into being more political. And from then on, I kind of found what I like to do, and I've kind of stuck with it since then and really grown an audience from it.
They are great videos, and unfortunately, because I've got a little emergency in my family here, I was not able to edit any of them and pull some clips. So people are going to have to go to your Facebook page, which is Official Hunter Avalon, as well as your YouTube, which is your name, Hunter Avalon, and watch them themselves. You have one of the videos where it's the 2017 resolutions. You know, a lot of people in the New Year start their resolutions, but they never follow through. What are some of those that you think you can follow through completely in on?
Like my personal New Year's resolutions?
No, off of the video, the political ones.
Oh, like what would I do in 2017 would definitely be, well, what I'm already doing, making more videos, definitely hoping to continue to grow my audience, reach more people, to encourage them to think in a more conservative way. Basically just continue on the path I'm on right now, and then hope to just kind of grow my audience, reach more people, and continue just spreading conservative values, I guess.
Right. It's funny, we already have a question in the chat room from Hope. I think she's fallen in love with you. Hope, just kidding, Hope. She wants to know where you live.
Oh, okay. I'm located in Frederick, Maryland right now.
All right.
So I'm in a pretty democratic state. So yeah.
Don't worry, I lived in Boston for a couple of years. I know how you feel.
Yeah.
Oh man. Now, I'm going to talk about some of the local things that have been going on that have been dealing with videos and the left's perspective on certain things. And one was that I'm sorry, my teeth are in backwards today. MTV video about the Electoral College, and all these left-wing stars and youth and everything else were going, trying to get them to change the vote. What's your what would be your rant on those individuals?
Well, I think for many of them, I kind of get the vibe that they're being a little bit of sore losers, and I've seen like blaring hypocrisy exposed from the left in those areas. Like, I don't know if you've heard of the news company. It's called Slate. They're extremely far left. But back in 2012, when Obama won the election because of the Electoral College, he won the Electoral College, this news organization released a article titled, like, how the Electoral College is very necessary, or something like that. And then in 2016, Donald Trump wins the Electoral College. They came out with an article saying the Electoral College was sexist and racist. So, I mean, you really start to get the vibe that they're a bit of sore losers. And, I mean, you know, we have freedom of speech, we have freedom, so if they want to ask the Electoral College to please vote for someone else, they're completely within their rights to do so. But I was laughing pretty hard when Donald Trump still won the Electoral College, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, because 29 states have specific legislation that the delegates are bound. And yet they were asking people to violate their state legislation or their state constitution and possibly go to jail. You know.
Oh, yeah. No, obviously if they were asking stuff like that, then that's ridiculous.
Well, there was another video that just recently came out about that Delta flight and those two gentlemen that claimed that they were thrown off the plane for speaking Arabic. And yet it turns out...
absolutely ridiculous.
Go ahead. Go at it.
I don't know him personally, but I've heard of that guy. He's a very, very famous YouTuber. I mean, he makes me look tiny. He's at 2 million followers or something like that. But he has been known for these ridiculous pranks that he'll do, like, I think he's done bomb pranks or terrorist pranks in the past or something like that. And then they kick him off the plane and he tries to pretend to be the victim. He also makes videos where he tries very hard to make it seem as if Americans hate Muslims. So any moment, any chance he can get to claim the victim, he will. And like so many of his pranks have been exposed as being faked. Yet all of his audience are like these sheep that just listen to him and believe him anyway, and they're like, I can't believe that happened. And of course, this whole thing was fake. I mean, he was lying the entire time. Apparently, multiple witnesses confirmed that he actually was being loud and yelling and being disruptive. He was claiming he was kicked off the airplane for speaking in Arab or whatever. He was being loud and disruptive, and so when people were asking him to get off the flight, he was like screaming and pretending he was the victim when he was causing the problems all along.
Absolutely.
That guy is really, really pathetic, honestly. He's really sad.
How do you go about making these videos? Are you doing it like in a studio, or are you having people work with you, piecing together? How do you make these things?
Well, right now it's just me. I have this room off of my garage where I have like my green screen hung, and I have just some lights I turn on and stuff. My video quality isn't as good as I like them to be right now. I'm actually going to be changing it very, very shortly. But yeah, it's usually just me, and I'm on a schedule. So usually I release a video on Sunday, but since Sunday's Christmas, I'm taking that week off, and I assume my audience would understand that. But usually I'll have an idea on today, Friday, and then Saturday I'll spend the day writing it up, doing the research I need to, and then usually that night I film. Then I get home from church and I sit down for a few hours and I edit, and then I get up on YouTube to go live that night. And then I just kind of relax the rest of the night, read comments and stuff, see how people are liking it. And then Monday comes and I start making my Wednesday video, start all over again. So yeah, that's just kind of how I do. Right now it is just me, but as I get a little bigger and start to make a little bit more money, I would want to hire someone else on to help me film or edit or something like that.
And because I love the stuff you do, and it's very, very creative, very imaginative. Has anyone looked at one of your videos and given you outright like a threat or anything like that on any of your stuff? I've
had I actually just got a comment the other day. And a lot of the times, I respond to other videos. So sometimes if I get a mean comment, I'm not sure if the comment's directed at me or at the person I'm responding to, like the crazy liberal or whatever. But in this case, I'm pretty sure it was directed at me. And someone was saying they would gladly kill me or something like that. But I've never actually received a full-on threat. There was a crazy woman the other day commenting that she was going to find me or something. And I actually called the police about that. I usually report things like that. Because I get a little nervous. I mean, of course, I want to be safe, and so it's still. I've never been flat out threatened. I've never received anything in the mail that concerned me or anything like that. I'm used to getting pretty mean comments, which is completely okay with. That doesn't really bother me. But yeah, that's about it.
What I liked was the fact that you say that you go to church, and that is something that I love. For some reason, religion seems to take on a nasty connotation. And I don't know why. If you're a Christian or a Jew and you start to talk about your faith, oh no, you can't do that. You're not supposed to do that in public. But if you're a Muslim and you stop in the middle of the public street to bow down to Mecca, that's perfectly fine. The cars and the pedestrians have to go around you. Can't touch them, but you have to go after the others. What's your thought on that?
How all society sort of caters to Islam, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not afraid to really say this, but I am no fan of Islam at all. I see the things it's done. I've done research on it, learned about the past of Islam, how many terror attacks they've carried out, and things like that. And I find it to be ridiculous. I'm not really sure why, the whole world wants to cater to Islam when that's something I don't understand is how the regressive left is pro-Islam, even though Islam is virtually against everything the regressive left claims to stand for. I mean, if you're a woman, then you're like a second-hand citizen to Islam. If you are LGBT, gay, something like that, then you're probably going to be getting thrown off roofs. So I don't understand why or how it makes sense that liberals can be pro-Islam despite Islam being against everything that they stand for. It's sort of like this idea that they're trying to be so tolerant, so tolerant that they're willing to tolerate even the most intolerant things just for the sake of them being tolerant. It's just ridiculous and completely hypocritical.
Which makes Adam Saleh's video even more ridiculous, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, well, exactly. Actually, you make a good point there, is how he would try to claim the victim despite the fact that society mostly caters to Muslims. I mean, these far left pages, Huffington Post, things like that, I mean, you'd think they were in love with Muslims for some reason, even though Islam is a direct religion that teaches that, like, women are less than men, women are abused under Islam, wife beating is okay, pedophilia is accepted. I mean, it's barbaric and it's disgusting, and Islam is something that I'm very passionate about. I'm actually going to be making a video in the next few weeks about Islam where I'm going to do some really in-depth research on it. It's going to be different than my usual style. But I'm really had it with Islam and the whole idea that society, for some reason, loves and caters to the insanity. I mean, Islam is barbaric. It doesn't...
Amen.
It really,
Amen to that.
What it really needs is a... What's that?
Well, we got a caller in the line who's a friend of the show, Cool Mike. Good afternoon, Cool Mike.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I'm really enjoying your guest. Wow, really awesome. Just a comment and then a question. I think one of the reasons progressives don't really say anything about the Muslims, number one is they say something that trumps everything, and that is literally they hate the United States. So no matter what their view is, they just share in it. Whereas America has won an awful lot of war. They just don't like anything we stand for, and neither do progressives unless it suits them. So no matter what the cause is, no matter who they slam, whether you're a lesbian or LGBT, it doesn't matter. The fact that they hate America, that trumps everything. And not to mention how well are blacks treated in Muslim nations. So anyway, follow-up question. How did you get involved in all this? Like, what age? I mean, man, you seem to be very well organized and on the crusade. And then my next question, I want to know from everybody, even our girl in New Mexico, where was everybody when Trump went over 270?
Well, I mean, I got into politics when I was a little bit younger. I was probably around the age of 17 or 18, but then I only just started making full-out political videos. It was around actually this time. No, it was actually the beginning of this year. The beginning of this year is when I decided, because I always had a thing I enjoyed the controversy in a way. I enjoyed presenting these ideas and seeing people not like argue and fight about it, but I enjoyed seeing people have a discussion over an idea that I presented, basically. And I really enjoyed the controversy and things like that. And so from then I kind of took away from my videos before were pretty immature and just kind of me goofing around almost. And I took it from there to like full out political things. And then as to answer your second question, where I was when Trump won, I was just up on my couch. I stayed up the entire time watching. I really didn't I'll be honest, I feel bad saying this because I should have believed in Trump, but I really didn't think he was going to win. I'd actually begun writing a video about Hillary's victory already while watching the election because I'd kind of already assumed that Trump wasn't going to make it. And then next thing I knew, he started to win, and I was freaking out. I texted a few of my liberal friends, kind of, I had to, right? And then, but yeah, no, it was like 3 a.m. when I finally ended up turning off the TV. And then the next morning, I woke up, put on my Trump shirt, went to school, and me and my friend, she's also a Trump supporter there, we ordered pizza to celebrate. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
No one harassed you with the Trump shirt on?
No, the school I go to is very, it's pretty small. So most people, I mean, I'm sure there are people there that didn't like it, but for the most part, no one really had a problem with it.
Well, actually, Kel and
Okay.
Curtis can admit that I said, look at the crowds. Look at the crowds that are forming for Trump compared to Hillary Clinton, and that will tell you how the election will go. And no one wanted to listen. Right, Curtis?
That's correct. No one, well, few people have faith. I mean, they wanted to win. They hoped we would win. A few, because of the media blitz, thought we would win.
All right, Curtis, you're going to make a comment.
But
Go
I
ahead.
have a question for Hunter.
Sure.
How do, in this day and age, and first of all, I admire what you're doing at your age and the people that you're reaching.
Thank
But
you.
how can the conservative movement be better served through social media to get our message out?
I'm sorry, I kind of missed that. What was the question? Sorry about that.
How can conservatives be better served through social media to get our message out today to young people like yourselves?
I mean, I definitely agree with the idea of doing YouTube, kind of like what I'm doing. There's a few of other younger people who are around my age that are doing similar kind of things, and so I'm definitely starting to see a growth in that area. There's also a new social media company that's starting off. I believe it's called Gab.ai. I might be incorrect though, so it'd be better to look it up, make sure. And they're a free speech social media site. Since Twitter is always running into problems, they're banning people. They ban like conservatives, or they ban people who claim to be alt-right and things. You can't really have freedom of speech on Twitter, it seems. And so I think conservatives will definitely be better served on the internet with these new platforms that are opening up, not created specifically just for conservatives, of course, but with the idea that free speech is all that matters, and that, like, regardless of what you say, you shouldn't be banned for saying it.
It's interesting because Trump has, I think they said, over 2 million followers on Twitter.
He has actually well over 15 million now. He's gotten many, many more as he's obviously progressing the election.
Well, do you think him being up on Twitter will help change the tide and allow more conservative voices to be held? Because, the more he gathers in, the more money Twitter makes.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how that's going to work. I mean, I definitely think Trump is going to probably help restore a few some conservatives' faith, I guess, back in like the sense that so many were unhappy with the way America was going, and then we just completely flipped, which is pretty incredible, I think. I mean, it was loud and clear that we were all sick and tired of the media and the establishment and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, that's what I would have to say.
I think we're seeing that worldwide. I think the Brexit vote was step one.
Brexit was huge.
Well, and this is there was something after our election too, and now France is going. But I mean, I just think in general, it's basically people are tired of surrendering their rights to unelected officials. It's that simple. And I think what we're seeing is this idea of a global United Nations type government. It has been stopped in its tracks, not only by conservatives, but people that are willing to fight for those liberties. And with progressives, I mean, it's kind of the old saying is, while the Muslims yelling and screaming at a conservative and a progressive, the conservative's putting his gloves on, getting ready to brawl, and the progressive's wetting himself. You see the pile of water under him. So I think that's what we're seeing.
Well, Mike,
hey, Curtis, where were you when where was Curtis when Trump went over the top?
Yeah.
Oh, let me tell you where I was. I was sleeping. I was so confident. That he would win. I just went to bed. I had worked the polls all day that day too, so I was on my feet all day.
And
props to you, because I didn't have much faith in Trump, even though I wanted to.
Well, and I had hosted a election night watch party at a local restaurant who gave us all this free food as long as we paid, half price on the drinks, and we kicked all the liberals out of there by our shouting and carrying on.
They probably went home to mourn and stuff.
And we were partying.
Exactly. It was the best. I have to say, some of the best results of the election was just seeing like the Hillary Clinton campaign when all her supporters were bawling in tears. It's just so funny. They tried. You feel like they're trying so hard to deny the fact that Trump is president, and there's now nothing they can do. I mean, they had the hashtag "Not My President" crap that was never going to happen, and it's like, if you're in the United States, Donald Trump is your president. I'm sorry. If you don't like it, you can leave. But it's just so silly that they're trying so hard to deny the fact. It's like they're just in flat-out denial. They're trying so hard to deny that Trump is president, and there's nothing they can do about it. The Electoral College was a perfect example. They're trying to, trying to get the Electoral College to change their vote and change things, and Trump will never get past the Electoral College or whatever, and it's really, really funny. Actually, the night of the election, I was texting one of my friends, and she's a really good friend of mine. I really do like her, but she's very, very liberal. And then I texted her, and I was like, I think like Trump is winning or whatever, and she wrote back and told me that Trump is not going to win. I was like, all right. I just waited, and then after the election, I remember I texted her, and I just used the smiley face emoji and sent her like an entire paragraph of smiley faces, kind of like I told you.
Just rubber
It's funny
face
because
see, Annie and I, we knew beforehand that the data we were getting from social media showed that Trump was just outperforming Hillary in every category. Mm-hmm. And, I never once believed the media hype, and never bought into it. And I've seen the crowds on TV, how he would have 50,000 and she might have 300. So I never believed the hype that they were putting out.
Yeah, I was going to say, what was I think it was Tim Kaine. Was it him who was having that rally that was so small they like had to close it, or it was like a tiny little line? I saw some video. It was for something Hillary related. It may have. I don't think it was a Hillary rally, but a Tim Kaine rally. And
26 people. Yes.
26 people. Was that where?
And they also what they did is they crammed them behind Tim Kaine, and they piped in music from the front, basically, and they got called out on it because some of the people who were there just thought it was cool what they were doing and was videoing it on their TV or on their phone. They didn't even realize, how embarrassing it was.
Exactly.
They were talking and taking pictures like repeatedly. I think one person got to ask Tim Kaine like 3 questions. Oh man, it's amazing. But if you think about it, you're lucky to ask one question. That one person, and he was posting the videos on Facebook. Before someone says, dude, stop. Embarrassing.
I'll tell you.
I know. I saw someone videoed something, and it showed, I think it was the line to Starbucks was longer than the line to Tim Kaine's rally, or something really embarrassing.
I really think that they wanted to hype this Hillary outperformance that never existed so much that it would traumatize us and we wouldn't come out and vote. But then again, just like the media, most of the people on the left are not honorable people, especially the celebrities, or they would have honored their word about leaving the country once Trump won.
And we offered to help pay for the tickets.
We don't want them in Canada. I'm just saying.
You already have your
those celebrities. The celebrities here in this country are so brain dead. Most of them, anyway. Not all of them, but many of them are so brain dead. And it's funny how quickly they'll just jump on the Hillary bandwagon. There's no doubt in my mind they're getting paid a ton of money from the Hillary campaign to do things like that or something. But it's just these celebrities are not down to earth. They don't. I just hate when I hear again, freedom of speech, it's fine for them to say whatever they want, but it just sounds so silly when you hear celebrities talking about political issues in a way that they have no idea what's going on. They live in a different reality. Where they're surrounded by fame and unimaginable wealth. That's great, and that's awesome that they worked hard and have earned that, many of them anyway. But it's pretty silly when it's like this celebrity says this about politics, and it's like, all right, you're famous because you can rap a song. You're not famous for politics. Like, you don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, Hunter, it's amazing. I was reading an article in the newspaper about 6-7 months back, and I cannot remember the actor's name, and I'm so ashamed of myself. I wish I did have it at the tip of my brain. But he was promoting his new movie coming out, and he was doing the press junket. And one of the reporters asked him about the American elections, and he said, "Why are you asking me about politics? I'm an entertainer, and I'm here to promote a movie." I thought, yay!
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, I mean, it's fine if they want to give their political opinion, go right ahead. Like, they have as much right as anyone else. But it is silly how, I guess, people seem to value their political opinion just because they're famous. Nicki Minaj doesn't know what she's talking about with politics. Beyonce doesn't know what she's talking about with politics. She can say her opinion, but the fact that people kind of value her opinion more than anyone else's is pretty ridiculous in a way.
Yeah, look what they did to Kanye West when he said, he supported Trump. Right?
What was that? I'm sorry?
The Kanye West, when he said he supported Trump. They booed him off the stage.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Kanye West, it was, MTV this has something to do with the Kanye West thing, is MTV recently released a video, and I actually just debunked it a few days ago on my channel, called 2017 Resolutions for White Guys, because white people have become, like the liberals, the regressive left, the social justice warriors, for some reason think that white men are like the devil or like the plague upon the planet. And so they went after him. They did this video that was very, very bad. It was so bad, actually, they had to take it down. It was on Fox News. It was everywhere. The internet. Right now, everyone hates MTV for it, and they deserve all the hate they're getting, in all honesty. But they have the minorities talking on there, being all snarky, telling white people what they can do better, like acting like they're above everyone else. And then they talk about Beyonce, and they're like, of course Beyonce's going to talk about black issues, come on. And then they go, except for Kanye West, you can have Kanye, you know what you did. And it's like basically calling Kanye West a race traitor for not thinking the exact same way as them, which is pretty ridiculous. I don't know if you guys know who Milo Yiannopoulos is. I assume you've heard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He made an excellent point about how these regressives are the worst kind of racists, where they assume that every person of color thinks the same way, which is really ridiculous. I mean, it's like everyone's equal, but then they just think that all black people have to vote Democrat, or all black people have to think one way or another, and it's just really ridiculous. It's like, are they allowed to have their own opinions, or because they're black now they are being forced to think one way? It's absolutely ridiculous,
I think we see this a lot in the liberal community, that there's such a triple standard. Number one is progressives really talk down to anyone else but themselves. They're mainly white, but they always know what's best for the minorities. And I think we see in the education, there's a great divide in the United States in regards to education, to whereas basically the progressives have been in charge, and we see that. And once again, even with the feminists, I think it was November. The election was the 8th. November 5, I think it was. It was the week of the election. Hillary went to a rally from the Women's Progressive Alliance, and I believe it was in Schenectady or Albany, somewhere in New York or Buffalo. But just prior to that, she was with these rappers, and some of the lyrics were like bitches and hoes and machine guns. And I'm thinking to myself, this is the hypocrisy of these people in general. They're robotical.
Exactly. I noticed that also, and it's so funny how when the Trump tape came out, I mean, these liberals were like horrified. How dare Trump use some derogatory language? And then all the Hillary supporters are at a Hillary Clinton rally singing along with this rap talking about, I still remember specific lyrics talking about girls like sucking and swallowing and like this very, very derogatory things. And so they're all appalled that Trump would dare say something derogatory. Oh, but then they'll go and sing along about the same exact and even worse things at a pro-Hillary rally. I mean, the hypocrisy is like, it's like ridiculous.
Ah, but Hillary's the women's defender. Don't you know that?
Yeah, she's the women's defender whose foundation's taken millions from other countries where women are abused.
I think there is nothing more degrading, at least from my standpoint, when an ivory tower academic basically is trying to make an excuse or speaking on behalf of African Americans or what. You know, they're fully capable of speaking for themselves. They don't need some white liberal. Basically, I listen to a progressive radio show here in my city in Grand Rapids. Now, get this. This lady is a university professor, and she made the following statements, and I was very glad I got a chance to download the podcast because I wanted to make sure I heard this correctly. And she says, well, one of the reasons why African-American men are lazy, don't work, and beat their wives is, she said, that the beatings that their great ancestors took 200 plus years ago, it's systemic. It trickles down. It's hereditary.
Oh,
and then,
my goodness.
Without a hesitation, she says, and that's one of the reasons the Native American men are drunks or alcoholics or something like that. We stole their land. And I thought, I cannot believe I heard this on the radio. So
I can't. What radio station was that?
It's actually a nationwide. Ours is WPRR, and but my whole point being is that it doesn't matter who they are, African Americans or black people. They're fully capable of talking. They can defend themselves. They can debate. They don't need this ivory tower white academic progressive to speak on their behalf. That is
in a way,
insulting.
No, I completely agree with you. That's racist in itself, and it's very degrading, like you said, to assume, oh, they're black, they need someone else to speak up for them. And I see the same thing with the whole regressive, this issue with women as well. They have this idea that women are this minority or oppressed group when women make up, I believe, isn't it 50% of the U.S.? I mean, women are not a minority, and I don't know why women are treated like this special, separate sort of group that needs to be catered to, and like, oh, we don't like Trump because, he makes women scared, or so. It's like, why are women this like coddled people group all of a sudden? Women are just as capable, just like what you said with the African American and everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it was also a female, Gloria Allred, who nicknamed that tape you were talking about, Hunter, Pussygate. It was her that she's the one who get. I mean, think of if you, Hunter, did a video and said and called it started the pan of that. You would be a racist, and of course, my whole point being is that I don't think these people have a clue how insulting they are. They're too. Michael Savage said it the best. It's a mental disorder, and I don't think that. You could talk to them all they want. I don't think they understand how insulting it is.
Yeah, because they think that they're helping out and trying to do stuff. And I mean, something I'll never have that so many of them do have is white guilt. I'm fully okay with talking about the past in America, and of course, I think we can all agree that slavery was absolutely horrible, and that it's a scar on America's past, but we've gotten through it now. It's over. Yeah. I'm not going to have guilt for something that I took no part in. I don't deserve to feel guilty for something because someone else did it who's white. That's just as ridiculous. I mean, if you said that for the other way around, you'd be a total racist. If you were like, oh, black people should feel guilty because so many of them are killing each other. It's like you shouldn't feel guilty just because something bad happened by this person who's the same color of you. It just doesn't make any sense.
It's funny.
It's very. I'm sorry. I was just going to say it's a very collectivism kind of mindset that they're all like this special group. They're all the same. all white people are this little group, all African Americans are this little group who have to think the same. They almost seem to be against the idea of people being individuals and want to just put everyone in their own little boxes and groups with their own ideas.
That's true, because empowerment scares them. Empowering an individual, especially African Americans, scares progressives because they think that these people will take over in leadership. You know, we've seen that. We've seen it in our military. How many Negroes have really joined the military as just a soldier and have risen the ranks? And I think that's very, very insulting because in general, an awful lot of African Americans and Hispanics and whomever have died. Their blood is on the flag fighting for our freedom. And these liberals who really don't even, they're the ones who spit on our veterans. They have no, I mean, it's literally, they talk in circles. I mean, it's just, it's absolutely insulting. And, you know, I think that the next day they woke up basically the same way they woke up just in complete disarray, that this many people not only disagreed with them, but basically in a chess match of the Electoral College, Hillary got her ass kicked by a bunch of racist white men.
Yeah, no, it's just that, like, and I mean, we hear it a million times how, like, anything that you don't agree with when it comes to the liberals or specifically the progressives, it's racist or it's sexist, or they're saying that, like I said, my friend who's very liberal, and like I said, I really do like her. She's a great friend, and of course I'm not going to like say her name or anything, but we were talking somewhere, and she called Trump a racist. And so I was like, okay, well, how is he racist? And she couldn't answer it. She kept, like, beating around the bush, and then, like, oh, he's also a bully. He's this. And I said again, I was like, how is he racist? And she never gave me an answer. To this day, actually, I've never heard an answer on how Trump is racist. No, there's more evidence to prove that Trump isn't racist than there is to prove that he is.
He was never called a racist until he decided to run for president. And I have on my Facebook, and it's out there. Somebody put together a really good video. All of you guys need to post this on your Facebooks of all these people saying Trump will never win. And it's not
I believe I saw the same video. I think I saw the same video.
It is the coolest video ever. I mean, it's like, even that guy, I can't think of his name, but he's from HBO, and he's like, Donald, I love you, but you don't stand a chance. And everyone's laughing and laughing. It's the guy from HBO. But, and then I mean, literally when you watch this over and over and over, it was almost as good as watching MSNBC in the final hour as Donald Trump hit 260, watching him slowly climb to the top. Because I'll tell you, these people had no clue what was going on. And the next day, as I picked up my signs from my election, I was also co-chair for Trump. I never stopped to think, you know, more than half of the leaders, the chairs, our county chairs and co-chairs in the state of Michigan, were African American or Hispanic. Of course, it didn't dawn on me until, you know, towards the end of the campaign. I thought, wow, our leaders, man, Trump's campaign was a hell of a lot more diverse than Hillary's. I can assure you of that. I didn't go around asking who was gay, but I mean, you can see physically or you can see with your eyes that they're African American or Hispanic.
Exactly, and you know, another thing. This is a great point made by. I also watched Steven Crowder. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Yes, we love him. We love him.
Yeah, I really like Steven Crowder, and he was at this college event, and they were claiming that he was racist because they didn't have any diversity on stage because it was all white people. And that's another thing is that progressives have wrong, is that there's more to diversity than skin color. And Steven Crowder made an excellent point about how there's diversity of ideas. And Milo Yiannopoulos was there also. He said we have a Republican here, we have a Democrat, we have a gay person, and we all have different ideas. There's diversity in ideas as well. So even if, for example, like all of Trump's campaign was white, doesn't mean it's lacking in diversity. It's just lacking, like, you can't, it's so frustrating when they claim that because you don't have a black person on the stage or something that you're now racist or you lack diversity, when diversity can be found in a lot of other things as well.
Well, Hunter, we're down to like our last 4 minutes of the interview here. I wanted to ask you one last question for you to make a comment on, because you are in college. Sure. What your opinion is of these safe zones and these kids that are going to college that wanting all free stuff, free tuition, free this, free that. What would you say to them to set them straight?
Well, I mean, that was something I found very laughable about Bernie Sanders' campaign, is I'd see all these young people who are voting for Bernie because, oh, he's going to give us free college. And I thought I was pretty much just laughing. I'm like, you're not going to get free college. Give me a break. I think the free college thing is just, again, it's lazy. The thing is, I can understand part of their point is I would be all for working to help make college more affordable so that people who don't have the most money could still get into a nice college. But I forget who said this, but they made a great point, is that, think about it. If you go get a job, I can go work at McDonald's. I might only be, I'm sorry, let me read, back up here. You might be able to work at McDonald's, and all you have is you've graduated high school. So you're only going to get a good job if you graduate from college. But if college is free and everyone just breezes through college also, you're taking away the value from that now also. And there's got to be something that sets it apart. So college is that thing that sets it apart, basically. So I think that people who claim that they want free college don't understand the full effects of it, I guess. As far as, our taxes would be through the roof as well. I already have to pay, enough in taxes. I don't want to have to pay more. And then as far as the whole safe space zone goes, that's just ridiculous. I know there's people on college campuses that actually wanted safe spaces for black people only, that they can feel safe. So virtually they want segregation all over again. I mean, these safe spaces are ridiculous, and they're a way for these wimpy babies to go and hide out somewhere and never need to hear anything that messes up their perfect bubble or view of the world. I mean, the kids who are stuck in their safe spaces are never going to survive the real world. I talked about that in an older video. It's just these colleges are a joke for taking them seriously, and the fact that these kids feel the need for safe spaces to protect themselves from other ideas only makes it worse, because then they grow up in an echo chamber, and all they hear all the time is their own ideas. And I mean, what's going to happen to these kids when they're 45 years old and then hear an idea they don't like? Are they going to go scream and cry and hide in a corner about it? I mean, you need to learn how to accept things that you don't agree with. You know? Exactly.
Amen to that. Hunter, it has been a pleasure having you on. We're waiting for Doug Giles for Clash Daily to call in. He's our next guest coming up. I think this is great. I had someone that's young and someone who is a parent, an older person, talking the same exact things, and that means that these ideas are not generational. They span the generations. These are our founding ideas that that you've been talking about, your videos talk about, and these are the same things that Doug is going to be talking about. I got to tell you, the majority of people that listen to the show listen to the podcast, which get tons and tons of hits. So I have in the show description the link to your YouTube page as well as your Facebook page. So people, as they're listening into the archives, just need to click on that and go to you and become a fan of yours.
Okay, very cool. Thank you. Thank you so much for...
Hunter, I'm also going to friend request you on Facebook. I'm Cool Mike. You are awesome. And Annie, you outdo yourself all the time.
Well, we got to thank...
Well, thanks so much for...
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, we got to thank Sweet Sue from New Mexico, who pointed me in your direction, Hunter. I had a listener that said, hey, this would be a great person for you. So I said, all right, let me see. And then I reached out.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much for having me on. It's been really great. I really enjoyed talking and things like that.
It is our pleasure. Check it out, Hunter Avallone on YouTube and Official Hunter Avallone on Facebook. Hunter, have a great weekend and Merry Christmas to you, and God bless.
You too. Merry Christmas.
All right. Now we're waiting for our next guest to call in, and I spoke to him on the phone just about an hour before the show, so he knows to call in. He should be calling within a few seconds. But Cool Mike, thank you for joining us, and we did have a question in the chat room. I don't see you up in the chat, but they wanted to know if you have your own show coming on BTR anymore.
Something, no.
I'm just way too busy. I did talk to Jermaine about possibly doing something over the holidays, but as of now, no. And, one of these times, I look at this, if I get time again, I'm just going to try to slide into your show. Those were all great. They were good shows. I enjoyed doing it, but no, they're in the rearview mirror right now for me.
Wow.
And of course, Annie told me on how to do a show, so it's kind of like being a great assistant coach. You can just watch Annie do everything, and I enjoy all the good feedback.
Well, listen.
You do all the work.
Oh, man. And you know how I run the studio. Curtis does, too. Now, Curtis, why were you so quiet over that one segment when they're talking about, the Hispanic vote and black vote? I thought you would chime in on that one.
Oh, I still have some technical issues here. I'm still working on.
You still got a screw loose, huh? All right. Now, listen, we were
Yeah.
talking...
I really think I have a virus. A computer virus. So I gotta try to extract that sometime this weekend, get rid of that virus.
True. And I want listeners to know, if you're having a problem with your Adobe Flash Player crashing on you while you're in the chat room, I think there's a conflict. If you're using Firefox, Mozilla Firefox, there's a conflict between the two. So I switched over to Internet Explorer or Chrome. I'm not crashing. My chat room has stayed open the entire show, luckily. But that's just an FYI if you're out there listening and finding that the chat does crash on you an awful lot. This is something a friend of mine sent me, and it's the stats that were viewed on Trump's winning. And he writes, this is the genius of the Electoral College system. There are 3,141 counties in the United States. Trump won 3,084 of them. Clinton won 57. Popular vote, think. There are 62 counties in New York State, which is a highly liberal state, you would think. Trump won 46. Clinton won 16. All right. Now, in 5 counties that encompass New York City, Bronx, Brooklyn, Manhattan, Richmond, and Queens, Clinton received well over 2 million more votes than Trump. Clinton won only 4 of these counties. Trump won Richmond, which is actually Staten Island. Let's see. There are 5 counties that comprise 319 square miles. The United States is comprised of 3,797,000 square miles. So out of the 5 counties that Clinton won, and she claims it's the popular vote, the Electoral College was to give each and every state an equal voice in the election. It doesn't mean, yes, you've got one person, one vote, and once you vote that state, you're voting that state goes to the Electoral College, and then they have a chance where little tiny Delaware can compete equally on equal standing against California and New York. That's what the Founding Fathers meant. No matter if you're an urban state or an agricultural state or a rural state, each state, no matter what your background is, has a voice in the election. And why they are arguing get rid of the Electoral College is because they lost. Oh, man. Jump in, guys, and comment. Oh, great. I have no one jumping in? Did we lose our guest co-host? Can anyone hear me?
I'm here. Can you hear me now?
Oh, yep, I'm here. What
I can hear you.
Cool Mike and Kel.
I'm here. Hi.
You had faded out for a second.
I faded out? Did I?
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
for about 10 seconds.
Oh, wow. Thank you, BTR. Well, I was just saying that,
Well, we're glad you're back.
Well, I was just saying how the Electoral College gives each and every state an equal vote, an equal chance to have their voices heard. Because if you have a concentrated state like New York that's got New York City, I mean, you've got to have them pit equally against a smaller state like Delaware or Massachusetts or some of these, so that each state has an equal voice on who will represent the entire United States, not just the urban areas in California or New York.
Well, what is screwed up about that, Annie, is what you just said, is that's why it was set up, is that looking back on it, that was kind of a liberal type thinking. so everybody's voice will be heard. But of course, they don't teach that anymore in today's school.
Well, what they knew is that you're going to have states that are going to be sparsely populated, or they may have their population spread across. They may be rural, they may be agricultural states, and they don't have the centers like New York City, Los Angeles, San Francisco that control the entire state because they are so concentrated. So they said, wait, we're going to be pitting cities against urbanites? That's going to cause a lot of friction. So why don't we just turn around and allot each state a certain number of electoral colleagues, and that way each state has an equal footing, so that when you have a president, he's not, or she is not, representing only L.A., San Francisco, and New York City. You will then represent all of the people. That is the beauty of the Electoral College, and now the Democrats are crying all the way home.
Hey, Annie, I have an observation to make about electoral colleges. If we had a system like that in Canada, we would not have ended up with Justin Trudeau as our Prime Minister, because the majority of Canadians did not vote for Justin Trudeau. It was the urban vote that got him in. So we are looking at reconfiguring our electoral process right now. At this point, we are using first past the post, which is very well and good. But the writings are so uneven, is that there would be a majority vote for a candidate, but it would be overridden by a candidate that has more in his or her writing. So I think the Electoral College is the very best idea ever, and I hope that Canada, if you're listening out there, Canada, you consider this as a proposal to our Parliament, our parliamentary voting system.
I had the same discussion with a friend of mine who said that he thought the Electoral College was outdated, and that he doesn't feel that his vote counts. Well, I turned it around on him. I said, well, if we
Doug Giles.
Yeah, hi, Doug. It's Ann from Southern Sense. Were you having a problem dialing in?
No, I thought you said 3:15.
3:15 my time, 2:15 your time.
Right. It's not 2:15 yet.
Oh, all right. Do you want to just stay on the line and come in at 2:15, or you want to come in now?
I'm ready now if you are.
Okay, great. We'll have fun. Thanks.
Okay, yep.
Setting up embassies in Russia. I don't know. Cool, Mike and Curtis. Did you hear about that? California wants to annex from the United States because of Donald Trump being voted in as president-elect, and they're establishing an embassy in Russia. Oh, my goodness. Have fun.
All right.
they need to grow up.
Curtis, we've got our next guest in on the line. He is the founder of Clash Daily. He is an outspoken individual with 2 fantastic books out recently. Want to welcome onto the show Doug Giles. Good afternoon, Doug. Oh, I didn't unmute Doug. Oh, boy, am I having one of those days today. I don't know where my head is. Sorry about that, Doug. I forgot to unmute you. Welcome aboard.
Yeah. Am I unmuted now?
No, you're unmuted now. I'm sorry. You know I'm having one of those days. You know, the head is up in the clouds.
Yeah, no sweat. How are you guys?
Oh, we're doing fine. I've got my co-host with me, Curtis C.S. Bennett. I've got a guest co-host, Kel Fritzy, and I've got my former co-host with us, Cool Mike, on the line. So we're going to have one heck of an active show. You've got 2 great books out, and I swear I was having fun reading them, laughing my tush off. And the first one is Pussification, the Effeminization of the American Male. And oh boy, are you throwing punches left and right in here. And I wish I had a double copy to send to my older brother. I mean, he fits in there perfectly. Oh man, tell us about this book.
Well, obviously your other brother probably doesn't listen to your show, right?
Well, actually, believe
Yeah,
it or
no,
not, actually he does, because he told my sister that he was proud that I get my voice out there and get it heard. He may not agree with me, but he was proud of me for doing that. So that's a loving family.
Well, bully for him, even though you did just now call him a pussified male. He might retract that compliment. But no, to answer your question in regards to my book and why I wrote it, that's the long train coming. I got tired of seeing prancing hipster dandies wear their skinny jeans and their man buns, or what I also call a douche knot, going around crying about going over molehills in the Garden of Eden. So I thought I would take the little Tinkerpots and take them to church and show them how to move from Pussville to the rarefied air of Mantown, where I dwell.
And you call them also Crispins. Now, what is a Crispin?
Yeah, Crispin. Crispin's kind of the catch-all name that I give for the hipster dandy in my book, Pussification. And what's funny, I was Googling, gosh, how can I say this? I won't say it. I don't want to get you kicked off the radio or anything. But I was Googling names for pussified men, and Sebastian was the top name, and Crispin, I believe, was number 3. Yeah, Todd was number 2, Sebastian was number 1, and Crispin was number 3. I know a Sebastian who's a Afrikaans guy who is like 9 feet tall, and he's a professional hunter, and I go over to South Africa a lot. I didn't want him to kick my ass, so I didn't use Sebastian. I know a guy named Todd who's not pussified. He'd take it personally, so I scrapped Todd. The only Crispin I know is Crispin Glover. I figure I'm good with him, even if he does get pissed off. So I ran with Crispin as my mythological character, who is the prom queen of Pussville. And I take him from that slough of despond, and like I said, up the steep incline in the rarefied air where eagles dwell and dreamers go to live, called Mantown.
Well, what are the signs that someone has been pussified? Because you've got 4 signs here. What are some of them that tell you, or someone else, that this guy is, pussy?
Yeah, one of as much as